I want to thank you for checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk, where we ain't scared. My name is A1, and let me just say I appreciate everybody. Thank you for supporting this podcast, checking it out every week. And we got a good show for you today, as usual. I have lots of notes, and of course, you know I got my We Ain't Scared mug. Get your We Ain't Scared mug. These are beautiful black onyx, strong black mugs. Oh, that strong black coffee. Any other mug is just selling yourself short, okay? Got coffee. Thanks to everybody that likes the coffee and comics that I do every morning. Start the day off with a little levity, and I appreciate you. Tell a friend, and subscribe. Subscribe. All right, so take a quick sip of my Starbucks. All right, so today we got a really good show, and let me just say again, and I don't plan this, I had a completely different topic I was going to talk about, but usually I just go with my emotions and my instincts as to what to really talk about. And When They See Us is the latest phenomenon on Netflix. I believe it is the highest streamed show or TV series on Netflix since its release on May 31st. It's about the Central Park Five. For those who don't know, 5 young black men, I think one Latino, were accused of raping a white jogger in Central Park in 1989, I think. 89. And they were coerced into admitting guilt to a crime that they did not commit. So they did about 10, 12 years between them each. And so it goes into that and how police corruption, NYPD, and what they would do to get a conviction. So anyway, check that out. But to jump in and really help you understand what's bothering me and what about that whole situation, this is how it started. It started from the beginning of when I saw Oprah, Gayle, and Ava DuVernay in a photo. And you guys know me. I don't like Oprah. I don't like Gayle because I don't think they like black men. And I did a podcast about that. So, and the way they move in and out of certain subject matters, you had Oprah and then Leaving Neverland with Michael Jackson, and she was gung-ho on interviewing these guys, these white men that claimed Michael Jackson sexually assaulted or accosted them. And then you have Gayle on the right side with her interview with R. Kelly. And you all know I support R. Kelly. He was found not guilty, innocent until proven guilty. I don't care how salacious the information. You're innocent until proven guilty. And you can do with that what you want. But going back to the When They See Us, and I just sort of juxtapose and put things in perspective. These are 3 black women, strong black women. I have nothing against strong black women. I think it is great. Look, when you find your way in this world and you can make a living, I mean a substantial living, God bless you. I mean, really, God bless you, because it is hard. It's hard out here for a pimp. All right, so here's the topic. Are black women becoming predatory filmmakers? I'll say it again. Are black women becoming predatory filmmakers? Now, and you heard that here first, if it ever gets out and, catches fire, whatever, predatory filmmaking. To me, this is police brutality. Black men are, unfortunately, as American as apple pie and baseball. That's how I feel. Because black men have been the target of white male hate since we got here. Because they had to hate us to go get us, to enslave us, to bring us back. It wasn't out of love. That's for damn sure. And so this dehumanization, okay, and us being targeted by law enforcement since the beginning of time, our time here in this country, is nothing new. And for a while, my attitude was, okay, it's important to showcase and share, and it still is, but I feel like Hollywood is rewarding black women and sending them in to do their dirty work by exposing and gaining our trust so that the black women are the ones responsible for peeling back the layers of vulnerability and emotional discontent and those deep sort of secret and sort of real scary feelings and emotions, and no white face is there to do it, but the white face is there to capitalize on it after the fact. And I'm going to get more into that, but let me get to my notes. So I'm sure when you first heard that, black women, predatory, you're probably like, what? What do you mean? But again, I feel like there is a subversive plot, okay, especially in this creative space where, again, white Hollywood is sending in black females, black women to do their dirty work. And I'm a little tired of the only time that you see a black male face sprawled across the news is either they were beaten by police, assaulted, organs were harvested, they were shot 50 times, 60 times, or they were exonerated from prison. That's the only time that you will see an abundance of black male faces profiled and highlighted across the entertainment spectrum. But black women, complete opposite. Which again, God bless you if you're making your way through, but black women are celebrated because, in my opinion, the white men are more comfortable celebrating black women because they're easier to dominate. That, to me, that's me. They know when you come up face to face with a black man, you better come correct or you'll get your ass beat, period. So don't fuck around. All right, so let me first say this. Again, getting back to my notes. It's, again, great that black females like Ava, Oprah, and Gail and others are surviving and thriving, even though I personally don't like them. However, in the case of When They See Us, since that's the most, again, current example, the justification for Ava, okay, getting involved. And this is what you're going to hear. You'll hear this from a lot of filmmakers, a lot of producers in Hollywood and all over, right? They wanted to humanize these young black men, okay? Now, on the surface, it sounds very filmmakerish and very deep and philosophical. But the reality is they're already human, okay? So, and I get the whole, but they've been dehumanized. We want to humanize them. I mean, some of this stuff is just artsy-fartsy filmmaker talk. You want to humanize them, don't put them in that position to begin with. That's my thought. But they, in my opinion, not my opinion, but the facts are they were manipulated, they were coerced into confessing to a crime as teenagers that they did not commit. Now, again, in my opinion, this was not about humanizing them, okay? It was more about capitalizing. Now, keep in mind, black people can be opportunistic. Just because you have multiple black people in a room, a black man, a black woman, black people can be opportunistic. We stab each other in the back all the time. That's the problem. We can be opportunistic. And just because it's a pretty black face, a female face, or they have some power, Oprah's opportunistic. Again, she had Michael Jackson on her show a few times. And then the minute that these allegations come out, she didn't even give the appearance that she had any doubt that he did these things. And I feel like she had these doubts and concerns even when he was on her show, but because he was such a big celebrity at the time, she wanted the ratings. Don't get it twisted. Black people can be opportunistic. Okay? And this is a sensational, high-profile, career-making movie for her. This is one of those movies that would further cement Ava DuVernay in the halls of Hollywood. So anyway, in the case of black men, again, I told you earlier they spent 10 years in prison, for a crime they didn't commit. And let me just tell you, I said this before, it took me 3 hours to watch the very first episode because I kept stopping and starting it. 3 hours. Okay, so anyway, to me, this is low-hanging fruit or an easy target to get ratings. And attention, America, with 3Ks, is obsessed with crime stories or police corruption that sends innocent black boys to prison for 10, 20, 30, or even 50 years, okay, only to be exonerated after DNA evidence proves their innocence, or as a result of the real perpetrator's deathbed confession or life in prison without the possibility of parole. Then they come and they are singing like birds about how they did it. Okay, so and then the black men that were falsely convicted are freed from their bondage to this round of applause by the country from people who don't give a damn except for the 5 minutes that they're on the news. They don't care about these black men. Miss me with that. I don't, this false concern, this false sincerity, because guess what? This happens day in and day out, and most of these non-black people don't give a damn. They're emotionally moved for the moment, and then they've moved on. Okay, so this is a common theme that happens over and over and over again in America, again with 3Ks. Now, my thoughts are, where are the black male directors and producers? And how come they were not contacted by the studios to produce and direct this TV movie? Spike Lee would have done an incredible job with this. I really believe Spike would have just knocked this one out of the park. Okay? So nobody can tell me, or excuse me, nobody can tell a black man's story of pain, racism, and oppression like another black man. Okay, and I'm certain that there are black men that are not ex-black men, but ex-felons or ex-men that were, black men that were in jail and they were exonerated, who were in film. They could have easily searched for these men. Okay, but much like in the same way that nobody can tell the pain, racism, and oppression of a black woman, just getting back to my original point, I feel like black men need to tell black male stories. Black women can tell black female stories. Now, some might hear that and argue, well, story is story. Yeah, I believe that on a certain level. I do. I think pain is pain, but just like men will never understand the pain of childbirth, I think that women will always be able to tell that story. Motherhood, better than a man can talk about motherhood. And a man can talk about fatherhood in a way that a woman will never be able to talk about fatherhood. And those differences are important. It doesn't make one better or worse than the other. It's just different. And I'll be honest and forth, with you, like, I think like Steven Spielberg, this is an interesting sort of juxtaposition. Color Purple, he did a good job with that. He did. Do I think a black director or filmmaker could have done a better job? Possibly. Okay. I'm certain there's probably exceptions in any situation, but I'm focused on the rule. Okay. I'm focused on the rule. All right. So, as I said, and you guys know, I don't really like Oprah and Gayle King, okay? They're very powerful. I will give them that. They have a lot that they're doing, and I can see Oprah putting Ava DuVernay into position as she's growing. But again, they hate black men. And if I see Ava, Oprah, and Gayle together, birds of a feather do what? Flock together. So I'm not even convinced that, depending upon this next film or project that Ava gets involved in, I hope I don't have to put her in that same category. I personally feel like Ava is a good director again, and I do again feel like this is a ladder of white Hollywood acceptance. White Hollywood loves objectifying black male pain. Okay, that's just my opinion. I really do. I think it's an easy way to get attention and oppression of black men for sick pleasure and enjoyment. Okay, you guys know my feelings about slavery and how white men did engage in some brutalistic behavior, sexual and otherwise. And they enjoy it. Yeah, they enjoy it. So brutality while easy to get a reaction, I think it further sends a message that that's all we can do and that's all we are about. And that's my other problem. We got to diversify these images of black men. And I know that's not anything new, but I'm going to say it because it still has not changed. So it's a mental conditioning, okay, that derives from a very sick and sadistic place in, again, white Hollywood. And again, I think these black women, I don't even know if they're going into this thinking that. I really don't. I really do believe that they are focused on the art. I do, right? I don't think it's malicious. I really don't. But I do believe that the end result of perpetuating this negative sort of stereotype about our existence is damaging. So you can be sincerely wrong and trying to be sincerely right. Okay. All right, so let's kind of continue. I think that white Hollywood is something where black men are continually being shut out from. And if the black female power structure does not work to include us as black men, then now they become the same objects of frustration by black men that white men are, okay? And then it's keeping black men at a certain distance, under a certain control by telling our story. Really, even though it's our story, they're still kind of doing it their way. And I mentioned Oprah in Leaving Neverland and how she just jumped right in there to assassinate Michael Jackson's character and never even apologized when the movie was eventually pulled from TV. Okay. Now, again, it is no coincidence that white Hollywood sends in black women to demonize and destroy strong black men. Now, I will admit, Ava didn't destroy the lives of these young black men, but she also isn't showing me how she's putting strong black male filmmakers in a position of power, okay, to produce and direct their own films. And yes, it is her responsibility to do that. If I let you into my life, okay, and I share the most emotionally traumatic moments of my life with you on film, okay, at the very least, it is your responsibility to help me as a black man, okay, get on my feet in terms of, okay, well, what would you have wanted to do with those 10 years that you were locked up? It is a black female's responsibility, a black female filmmaker's responsibility that I give you your next project, that you help me with mine. It's a two-way street, okay? It is. And Tyler Perry, to throw a name out there, seems to work with a lot of black female directors or women. And I know there's some question about his sexuality and, if that's just part of it because he's, into that. But he works with a lot of black females. And so I need to see personally black men in position in Hollywood working with other black men to put them in position in Hollywood. That it's just important. And then we can tell our own stories. Jordan Peele is doing his thing, which is great. Jordan Peele could have shot that. Jordan Peele could have got in there when they see us and he would have done an incredible job. An incredible job. Okay, the black man's trauma and pain is not for sale. It is not for sale. Now, I know that there are prisons that are profiting, okay, off of the black man's trauma and pain. But for me, I got to draw the line. I have to draw the line. And I think black women are always seen as a black man's mama of sorts, okay? Which is fine, but it's being used to manipulate black men into a false sense of comfort without uplifting and empowering them. If you come into my world, you come into my life. I did 10 years, okay, in this instance when they see us in prison, okay? You got to tread lightly. And I know that they're caught up in the lights and the attention and the celebrity and they can't see it the way that I see it. Okay, but I'm always watching and I'm guarded about how black men are being perceived, how we're being treated by everybody. Because black men are the only ones in the world that we are the originators. We are the kings. We are the architect of all things worldly. I don't care what it is. That's us. That comes from our DNA. Okay? And black women have to tread just as carefully around black men that have been abused and traumatized by white men. It is no secret that they lynched both black and white men, but black men by and large far outnumbered that, and the castrations and the castigation, all those things. Now, the Central Park Five, just to kind of close that out, they did get a settlement of $41 million that they all had to split. Okay, and yes, they started their own businesses, which is great. Okay, of course, but if Ava really has these black men's interest at heart, she should do a follow-up on Netflix with each one of these black men individually and profile and highlight their entrepreneurial aspirations to help bring attention and increase these men's revenue for their business endeavors. These men lost 10 years, and that settlement split between 5 people for it. I mean, what, $5 million? And then you gotta pay attorneys. I mean, that's that money. If they're not wise, it won't last. This is generational wealth that has to be built. Don't just put money in Netflix's pocket. And I don't have nothing against Netflix. They're a business. They're gonna take whatever compelling stories you bring to them, and if they like it, they're gonna go with it. But be a light to help bring international attention to these black men and businessmen and entrepreneurs. Again, predatory filmmaking is dangerous, okay? Especially, again, if it's done by black women that don't understand that they may be being used. That's why if a black man, I mentioned Spike Lee, I mentioned Jordan Peele, if they're behind the camera, I'm more than comfortable, okay? Now, I really want to make sure that I requalify. I have nothing against black females, nothing against black female directors and producers. I just think that we're getting to a point in this country where these stories are so prevalent and it's so easy to pick up a camera phone and start shooting these things, not realizing that, wait a second, there's some ripple effects here. And, even with Ava, when she did the Netflix documentary 13th about the 13th Amendment, about slavery still existing if you're incarcerated, I thought that was incredible. But again, this is a theme. It's prison. It's black men. It's jail. It's oppression. It's pain. And then it starts to take on predatory tones. Okay, now is she the now black female spokesman for all things black male oppressed prison, wrongfully convicted? Is she going to become typecast as that kind of director and producer? I don't know. Okay, but it's obviously a common thread and theme. But what isn't obvious is how, again, she's helping these black men that she's filming. Okay, my feeling is it's important to tell the stories. Of course it's important. We just have to be careful. Okay, we just got to be careful because, again, predatory filmmaking can lead to some problems where they start to feel like only black females can tell the story. And we know that's not true, okay? You can't tell anything better than me because I lived it, okay? So I guess where I want your minds to go to is just think, okay? Just think. Don't allow what you see to just be seen and not think about the backstory. It's always the backstory. And in Hollywood, there is always some kind of conspiracy, some kind of plot of some sort to put certain people together in certain ways so that these white Hollywood executives can achieve their ultimate goal, lining their pockets as much as possible. Okay, so Ava, I appreciate you, but you and Gail and Oprah, I'm watching you guys as a power group. I need to see you now film something where there are some strong black men that are successful. They're not oppressed. They're not in pain. They're not baby daddy number 8. They're not drug dealers, okay? They're not gangsters. I need you to shoot a movie where there are strong black male leads that have nothing negative in the plot. That's how you're going to start changing my mind. Until then, we may have a problem. I'm going to lump them all in and say that they don't like black men, all three of them. Again, no matter how many hugs you give on camera or red carpet photos you take standing next to us, it's not what you say, it's what you do. And filmmaking is one of those things where it is easy to draw conclusions based on your subject matter because that's what interests you. Okay? That's what interests you. Well, I mean, again, I hope I'm proven wrong. I do. But my instincts tell me that I won't be. And it's sad. It really is sad that I have to be pessimistic until proven otherwise. But we'll see. And I'm sure you have your own thoughts on the topic. And as usual, I encourage it. That's great. Talk about it. Think about it. It's important. We have to have these difficult conversations. I will always be an advocate for difficult conversations. It ain't about me being right and you being wrong or vice versa. It's not about that. It's about having the conversation to make you think. Okay? That's what's important because just stopping to think for a moment can change the whole trajectory of some of your opinions and thoughts. When you start coming to a conclusion that, no, you're right, I'm wrong and you're right, and that's it, and you don't ever allow the introduction of new information, where are we going? Everybody can learn that, you know what, let me listen to your thoughts, because maybe, keyword, maybe, there is something there that could help adjust my current position, and I can see things a little differently. All right? Okay. Well, those are my thoughts, and I want to thank you for checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk. You got some good food for thought. Listen again. Tell a friend. We ain't scared.